Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rachel, and today we're going to be talking about eclectic homeschooling. Most homeschoolers do it, they just don't call it that. So I'm going to tell you all about what it is, what it looks like, and believe it or not, some of the drawbacks. So what does eclectic homeschooling mean? Well, eclectic by definition means deriving ideas, style, or taste from a broad and diverse range of sources. So what does that mean for homeschooling? Well, that means you're grabbing a bunch of different resources using different homeschooling styles as your inspiration, and you're picking from different curriculum from those different homeschooling styles. And that's why I say a lot of homeschoolers do it. They just don't really realize it or call it that, because they'll pick something from Saxon math and then turn around and pick handwriting without tears, or then do a 5 in a row curriculum. So what exactly are the different homeschooling styles? I'm just going to introduce you guys to the top 5 that are kind of out there. There are tons. This is just a brief introduction. Traditional homeschool is really how it sounds. It's just school at home. It's your tests, your quizzes, you're reading out of a book, answering questions. Your day is really structured and you go lesson 1 to lesson 2 and they build upon each other. An example of this might be something called a Becca. I have here a Becca Science. It comes with a teacher edition as well as the answers to the text questions inside of the kid's book. And the kid will go through and, of course, read information. And they have questions at the end. That is what your traditional homeschooling style is going to look like. So classical homeschooling is a 3-stage program. The first years are going to be your elementary years, and that's really heavily focused on memorization. Then your next years, I would say your middle school aged years, are going to be connecting a lot of dots, really making connections and developing a deeper understanding of things. And then in high school, you're really focusing on the communication of what you know. It's a lot of oral presentations and a lot of essays. It's heavily focused on writing to make sure you really understand and can get other people to understand what you know. Classical homeschooling, we actually got introduced to this past year a little bit. We started Classical Conversations Co-op community, and although the kids absolutely love the music, with what we were studying in addition to that, it never really flowed right. So we just had to not continue the actual community, but we absolutely love the Timeline song, and my kids really enjoy all the other songs. When we talk about science and history, they actually learn the songs that go along with those weeks. Montessori is actually one of the first homeschooling styles we were introduced to. I naturally came about this type of style, and that it's a child-centered, play-based learning style. The kid has the freedom to choose the activities that they would like to play with. There is usually a lot spread out, and the child can decide to do art, or they can decide to do a math puzzle, or they can even go over to the reading section. It's totally up to them. Charlotte Mason, I am a science person. So Charlotte Mason is completely opposite of me in that it is so literature based. But I find this homeschool style to be so fascinating. The living books idea is genius in my personal opinion. A living book is a book that is written by someone that is passionate about that topic. So if someone has got a PhD in history and did an emphasis on Abraham Lincoln, then they have a passion about Abraham Lincoln. So a biography written by that person is going to be a living book. It really is just when a book comes alive, is kind of what it means by a living book. Their science is heavily nature study based and really based on observation, which I personally absolutely love because it introduces the scientific method in a very holistic approach. And then I kind of want to go ahead and mention unschooling, simply because I think a lot of people don't really know exactly what it means. Unschooling does not mean not schooling your kid. It is very similar to Montessori in that it is child-centered. The child decides what they want to do. Most activities are life experiences. Lots of hands-on field trips, outings, and it's really just what I like to call natural learning. Game schooling is actually a subset of this type of schooling, and it is one you will learn a lot about from me. Okay, enough information. Let's dive down into what does it look like, right? Well, it looks like anything, and I know that sounds so strange to say. Every eclectic homeschooler you meet is going to be completely different. So I'm actually going to show you, first of all, what an example of something that is not eclectic, just so you kind of get an understanding. Because you might think that eclectic homeschooling just means picking different curriculum. That's not necessarily the case. Picking different curriculum does give you a broader perspective of things. However, they may use the same style. So I'm giving you an example of what a non-eclectic homeschooling but different curriculum looks like. So what I have laid out here is, like I said, an example of a non-eclectic but different curriculum setup. So we have here Becca Science, and these are going to be different years just because I got them from different homeschooler friends of mine. This would be Becca Science. This would be Saxon Math. And then this is Story of the World for history. These are just a few things I had to borrow from. So again, they are different companies. One is Well Trained Mind, one is Saxon, and then the other is Becca. However, their styles are the exact same. They have a introduction to material. That's the teacher's workbook, I apologize. So you have introduction to material, and then in the end, you'll have questions on whether or not you understood what you read. And the math is the same. You'll have tests and quizzes. This is the traditional style. Again, Story of the World. You could use this as traditional, and that you read, and then you also do questions from the workbook. But in here, you can also make it non-traditional. So you could get Story of the World and make it non-traditional by adding extra books, say living books, and then doing the activities from the activity workbook that it suggests. And that would make it eclectic. I just wanted to go ahead and give that example simply because I didn't want people thinking that eclectic homeschooling was just grabbing from different curriculum. It really is a compilation of a lot of different resources in terms of styles. So I'm going to give you a glimpse into our eclectic homeschooling style. Here's just a glimpse of our, quote, curriculum for my second grade son last year. We did math notebooking, and then we did some Beast Academy as some extra independent time. And then Parker also did language arts notebooking. And then we would also do writing with our themes. And we ended this year on horses, so it's still kind of up, hanging out. The kids are still looking at it because we're doing horseback riding lessons this summer. So we would do some different activities in regards to horses. And then different writing assignments every day for our lessons. And then we also would do language games on our game days, and then simple math games like multiplication, war. And then we will be doing history this year. We did not do history last year, and I will be doing a video on how we're going to be doing history this year. But basically, it's going to be unit-based, similar to our science units. Our science units, we just pick a topic, and then we grab books. And from there, we do different activities, and with my older son, the different writing activities. So there you go. That is what our curriculum looks like in our family. And now I kind of want to talk to you guys about some drawbacks, because there are some. The first one I have to go ahead and mention is simply money. If you are an eclectic homeschooler, you are more likely to spend more money in a couple different ways. So watch out. The first way you can't really avoid, and that is you don't get the discounts from bulk ordering. And by that, I mean you don't get the discount they usually give you when you buy the history, the literature, the science, the math all together. They will usually give you a discount or a break on that. Unfortunately, you will end up spending most likely full price on, say, the language in a Becca. My advice to that is really find something used. There are tons of Facebook groups that sell curriculum, and a lot of places locally will actually do homeschool sales. The second part to the money is that because you are grabbing so many different sources, a lot of times you'll tend to pick up extras that you're not meaning to, thinking that your kids might really enjoy that specific resource or curriculum. And then they end up not liking it. Again, my advice there is to go on to the Facebook group marketplace or see if you can find a local homeschool resale. I usually do a purge right before the beginning of a school year when we know and we've solidified what we're going to use that year. The other drawback, there's only two, is planning. It does take a little bit more planning when you do not have one set curriculum that you are going to follow. It's not as open and go. You have to put the different subjects into a planner to really keep yourself a little bit more organized. And this can range in, shall we say, severity. If you end up doing a do-it-yourself curriculum like we do in history and science, you are going to require a lot more planning and prep. Figuring out activities and going on Pinterest and Googling will be your friend. I'm going to do a whole video on how exactly I plan my different science and history units, so look forward to those in the next couple of months. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful and useful. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe so you can watch a ton more awesome videos from me. Bye guys.